as I fix my studio before we start season 14, I've realized that something integral is broken. I guess I knew something was wrong last season when I moved to the haunted closet. And sorry for the bad video quality. I'm using my phone, but I decided to try to figure out what it is because we're going to start recording the new episodes tomorrow. I was thinking about doing one tonight, but apparently that's not going to happen. So with a little bit of duct tape and a lot of... I'm going to have to order a new one of these tripod arms. I've been using it so much. Hey, Horrible Night. How's it going? Yeah. This is... Hey, Radio. Hey, an idea guy. I'll be back. Radio. I'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, I should be researching. I should be working on stuff. Instead, I'm here trying to fix this arm. And did I... Because I need to make it... Oh, dang it. The problem with duct tape is... Hey, Antichrist. You know what? Horrible Night. I was never really affiliated with them. I was just a fan of theirs. I never got paid or anything for that. I just thought it was really cool that they had it. I don't sub with them anymore. But they just had a new... They just did a new promo. What was it? It was some new horror movie they got the exclusive rights for. I gotta get a knife. I'll be right back. I duct taped it too much. What was it? Yeah, Shudder just got something else, and I don't remember what it was. But, they're probably worth it for at least... I subbed... I had them for a couple months. No. I didn't have a promo code or anything. I just thought it was a cool service, especially because it was during the pandemic. And it was nice that... look at... Wooden knife. All the strength of a regular knife, but but a lot of the weaknesses can still cut you. It's not actually even cutting through duct tape. Thanks, Chime. I don't know if I could... I've listened to Dead Rabbit Radio while I've walked before. I think it depends on the episode. Sometimes the stuff is too creepy. I wouldn't want to listen to it while I was walking. I don't like playing with that knife so close to my eyeballs. How have you guys been? How's everything going with you guys? Okay, I need this. My dream is for it to be right here. But see, it's broken. I stripped the wire. This is my dream right here. So I need to tape it like this. Like right here. Oh, that sucks, Antichrist. Wish you the best, dude. That's always stressful, man. I've never been in the court system, but I've got a lot of buddies who have been, and some really good buddies that are locked up for quite a while. Man, you know what, dude? If you ever got anyone locked up, hey, no problem, shout out. Shot, yeah, no problem, shot out and tired. Take care of that little baby. Take care of that little sleep baby. And a new episode's coming out soon. Yeah, dude, if you ever know anyone who gets locked up, I feel bad about it. Hey, Caesar, I saw you popped in there. You gotta write them. You gotta write them. I feel so bad. One of my boys has been locked up for 8 years now, and I keep saying I'm gonna write him. I don't know. I guess keep coming up with excuses not to. I mean, I want to. I just need to write him. And I'm glad you're trucking. You're driving across the country. Who posted that about trucking? Chime, dude. Seriously, dude. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks. I will definitely buy a mic stand, a non-duct tape mic stand with that. Hey, Viking Raider, really appreciate that. And then Horrible Night, yeah. Driving, doing the work, getting stuff across the states. Listen to Little Dead Rabbit. That works out. Let's see here. Yeah. I mean, whether or not they deserve it, it depends on the crime. I get it. Like, it depends on there's certain crimes, like the guy I was talking about, he murdered somebody. He got 17 to life. He just turned 18. But I love him. It's my boy. So, my old intro music, I've never changed it, Viking. I've never changed my thanks, Chime. Yeah, no, it's always been Atlantis Attacks. It's always been that song. Which I am getting closer to releasing that song. I haven't done it yet. I'm still thinking about it, but I think it'd be cool. Yeah, and the Antichrist. That sounds extreme. 5 years for breaking a window at a place you live, especially. But yeah, hopefully everything works out. If those are the charges, hopefully that works out for you, man. Because yeah, that does sound extreme. Yeah, that song's never changed. Yeah, definitely, dude. You know what? Idea guy, like, I do a version of sponsorships where I have the promo codes for the movies. But I can't, the thing is like, I can't promise that I'll never run sponsorships. The question is, here's my thing. Is it stuff that I think you guys would like? Right? Like when I watch so those movies I've recommended, most of them I haven't seen beforehand. I signed the thing or just agreed to do the promo read for it. And then I watch them later because I don't get the movies right away. They've all been pretty good. That movie, A Spell, I talked about a long time ago about the guy whose plane crashes and it's like his family's like into old voodoo stuff. I never got to talk about it on the show. That movie has one of the grossest scenes since Cabin Fever. Is so disgusting. There's a scene in that movie that is so gross. It's shockingly gross. And it's funny because in the promos, because I hadn't seen the movie yet, I said, it reminds me of Tales from the Crypt. It reminds me of Tales from the Crypt. That's exactly what it was like. And like those old Tales from the Crypt shows, it was this normal thing and then gets brutally violent. There's a scene in it and it's so gross. The Video Nasties, those are like the British movies that are banned or things like that. I know Video Nasties is like a British term. Probably not. That wouldn't be something that I'd watch. I know they have like, I've seen like the Lost Media, not even the Lost Media. I've seen like the dark media icebergs and things like that. I have such peculiar taste anyways. And if I'm going to watch a movie, I don't have a lot of time. It's generally a movie that I'm interested in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to watch movies like, I don't want to watch movies for shock value. I did watch that video Wendy Goon did. It's funny because somebody recently sent me on Instagram, and other conspiracy theory channel gave me a shout out. I guess I'm on the iceberg now. Someone was going through the iceberg And I got to give the person a shout out on the show because someone was going through the iceberg in their video and said my video, but I want to give the person who I didn't watch the content. Someone sent it to me and then I saw the video. So that was cool. But yeah, I saw Winnie Goon's video. That was the one I was specifically talking about. He does a great job. That's a great video. What more could I add? What more could I add to that? I don't think I'm big time. I do see, I don't go to X as much as I used to, because a lot of it just seems to kind of get recycled. We know that. The succubus threads, the divination threads, those threads are fine for people who enjoy them. I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying back in my day, X was, those threads are there because people are interested in that stuff. And I don't have a problem with that. But, you know, when you read them once, you've read them a couple times. And so, yeah, no, I think there are people on. No, I taped up the hole. Oh, I taped up a hole that this needs to go into. Dang it. Yeah, sometimes this is the conspiracy theory. I mean, this is not the conspiracy theory closet. This is the haunted closet. No, I've seen one or two threads about the show on the X board. I saw one fairly recently, and I saw one a while ago. It's cool. Like, I saw the one recent. I usually don't go to them. I did go to the one recently, and there are people who like the show and people didn't like the show, and that's just the way things are. I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that not everyone likes the show. Hey, Fangalist. It's cool. Like, that's the thing. Like, I know it's not for everybody. I know the tone of the show is not for everyone. There are people who don't like the sound of my voice. There are people who don't like me. That's totally fine. Thanks, Horrible Night. Hey, no problem about the Patreon thing. Nice, dude. Get that art done. You stay safe and spooky as well, and I appreciate the donation. The show's not for everybody. I like the show. Hey, Rampart, I like the show to be for everybody. But I know not everyone's going to like it, right? It's a different tone. Some people like it more seriously. Thank you, Viking. Some people like it more seriously. Some people like it more funny. Some people like it longer. Some people like it with more hosts. Yeah, and Viking, that's the thing. Like, one, you can't put out the perfect show. I actually liked it on the recent X thread. Somebody said, this was a really good way to put it. It's not a good paranormal podcast, but it's a good casual podcast like your buddy just found something interesting to talk about and is telling a story. That's a fair assessment of it. And you could go, well, I thought you are I consider it a paranormal podcast. But there are people who want it to be more serious. So that's, I read that and I was like, that's legit. And then other people were criticizing the show, and that's fine too. You have to have. It's funny because one of the things they were talking about on there was about how I don't read critical comments. And that's a bit of that was a bit of a miscommunication. If that's what people again, if that's what people think, you can't control what people think. I read criticism. I don't read trolling criticism. That's the difference. I've read comments online and I've made adjustments to the show. There was one comment I read a long time ago. I don't remember if it was on Reddit. I don't remember if it was on YouTube. I don't remember if it was on the X board about the show. And they said, just tell the story, you beep, beep, beep. Used a couple choice words. They go, quit telling jokes and interrupting your story. And I thought, I do that all the time. This was hundreds of episodes ago. I saw that. Now, if I didn't read any criticism at all, I would have continued to make that mistake. But I have said on the show, I don't read critical emails. When someone sends me an email and they're like, you suck, you're garbage, I stop reading it. Yeah, I'm not going to waste my time reading negative stuff about me. And I try not to read negative stuff about other people. I mean, I do have a weird thing for celebrity gossip, but you know what I mean? You got to listen to criticism, but it's troll, and you know the difference, the trolling criticism, right? When people just go, you fat mother effer, blah, blah. why am I going to finish reading that comment? Why am I going to give them my loosh? But when people go, hey man, I've been a fan of your show for a long time. This happened, actually. I remember there was season 3, season 4. I got more than a few comments. Hey man, huge fan of your show, but you're doing a lot of cryptid stuff. Keep doing what, have fun. There you go. There you go. That's critical. And I was doing too much cryptid stuff because I was kind of in a drought. I was having a hard time finding stuff. I had found some really cool cryptid websites. Cryptid stories are really fun to tell, but I did too many of them in a row. And and let me go back to that comment too, because I want to address that. What my boy just said, radio lunch. If they hate, then let them hate and watch the money pile up. Yep, 50 Cent and then Kanye West. And 50 Cent was quoting someone too, because then when Kanye West was quoting 50 Cent, it made it even funnier. But yeah, and so, yeah, see, so I love cryptids too. But it was like the end of season 3. I did like 15 episodes in a row. And it wasn't a theme week. So you got to listen to criticism, but you also got to not listen to the trolling criticism. But again, I was reading these comments on the X board and I go, that's a fair criticism because I have made that comment. It was my fault that it was misconstrued that way, not theirs, because I can see where they're coming from. And it was also just kind of advice for everyone. There's no need to read, because I'll get mean emails. And you just kind of like, you can't let it get to you. Otherwise, you would quit. You couldn't put anything out in the public. Yeah, Fangulus, that's a good way to put it. And you know what's funny is like there's a fine line. Like I like to debunk, but sometimes you notice a lot of times my debunking thing, I'll just say this could be fake. Because every story could be fake. There are some stories that we know are fake, and I like investigating those. There's some ghost stories that we've been able to track back. There was that dude in Siberia. There was like the mayor of a town in Siberia who was faking Yeti sightings. He had a man in a suit to attract tourists. That's fascinating. The fact that it's fake actually makes the story more fascinating, other than another set of Yeti sightings. But yeah, there's a balance. Like, you don't always want to. I try to say, especially with like UFO stories that seem fabulous, I always go, this could be made up, because it could be. But then a lot of time, that's not interesting if every story ends with me going, it's fake. Like, we still want to put on our tinfoil, what do we call them? Conspiracy caps. It's been 2 weeks since I've done the show. But yeah, I'm glad that you enjoy it. You know what, dude? Sometimes it's so funny. Sorry, I was reading that other comment. Hey, A. Samson, really appreciate the donation. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate that hard work. Sometimes, you know what? The second I announced that I was doing an RPG Maker game, it became work. And so I was like, I can't do any more work. I can't do any more work. Okay, Doomer, thanks for swinging by. Yeah, this is the Haunted Closet, turning it into the recording studio. So no, I haven't been working on the RPG game. I should. And then Brave New Order Films. I'm glad you like the show. The MMA, you're so close with both of these. It's so funny. It wasn't MMA, it was jiu-jitsu. It's shut down because of COVID. It was a lot of fun. And I actually have, look at this. So funny you mention it. Ugh. This is, oh my goodness, more trouble than it's worth, but what in the world? This is what happens when you try having a recording studio in a closet. You have hangers flying everywhere. I got my gi, bro. Well, here's my pants. I still got my gi. And I don't do the carnivore diet. It was keto. So you were close. You were close on both of those. I've stored this the whole Here's my gi. And dude, that's the inside? So yeah, I haven't worn it since... I don't want to throw it. It deserves more respect than that. I haven't worn it since COVID, man. But I want to get back in there. Totally want to get back in there. Yeah, no, no. And the keto is doing great. I've always kind of stalled out around 280. So I've added a lot more weightlifting. I just need to work out more. Like, that's the thing. Like, my diet's better than it was when I was 350, and dang it. I'm doing good, but I still need to kick it up a notch. You know what I mean? Yeah, thank you, Mikey. Yeah, the vacation's been great. The vacation's been great. I got some great story. I don't have an Army Hammer update, though. It's so funny because you kind of want to know how this saga ends, but you also hope nobody gets hurt. Okay, so I think I got that part. The next thing I'm going to do, okay, is I'm going to duct tape. It's so funny because I'm duct taping this all together, but I'm going to buy a new one of these, but I won't get it for like probably a week. So I got to start recording. I got to start recording tomorrow, so I don't have time to mess around. This is my dream, is to have it right here. So now, because part of the problem has been lately is it seems like when I move away from the mic to look at my computer, I hear the sound difference. Yeah, you know what, Mikey? It sucks because every time I hit a plateau, I just seem to do... What happened was when I went from 350 to 280, doing the same thing, it was a breeze. And then all of a sudden, I'm 280, and I'm 280 for a year. And it doesn't seem, no matter what I do, you go to 275, 280, 275, 280. And you start getting frustrated, and then you start making stupid food choices because you start going, well, if I'm not going to lose weight by eating this stuff that I know, you know what I mean? Like, what the heck is going on? You start making bad food choices. And then you put on weight. Then you got to lose it again. But that's the key. As long as you never really go back up too high. Sorry if I'm looking away from the screen right now. Yeah. Yeah, weight loss, it's a journey. That's what I tell people. You can't get too frustrated by it. I have a buddy who he's just stopped weighing himself. And you know what? If you're a big person and you don't mind being a big person, then that's your choice. The frustrating part is when you want to lose weight and you know how to lose weight, but you're putting up roadblocks and stuff like that. Like, that's the thing. If you don't want to be an author, you don't worry, oh no, I'm never going to finish my masterpiece. But if you want to be an author and you're playing video games all day long, it's soul crushing. There's nothing wrong with playing video games all day long. But if they're interfering with what you really want to do, it's soul crushing. Like, you get no enjoyment. And that's how I used to be. Okay, so you see how this is wobbly? Not supposed to do that. That's what I'm trying to avoid. So, what if I did? I want it. The thing is I need to get this fixed before tomorrow. That's the thing. Like, I was about to go, I'll just go out, but I gotta get this fixed. The option is I don't record in here tomorrow. But I got the other episodes recorded in here. I just want this now to be here, which means I duct tape that. This seems super dangerous. I like doing them out in the living room better, but they sound better in here. There's way less background noise. I did rearrange my living room. Hey, Ryan. I did rearrange my living room Among Us, and I got, I made it more feng shui. So there's that. But they just sound, I might do the next couple episodes out there. Because, if I had it like that. This is what I'm doing, by the way. This is what your podcast is looking like. It's a yoga block. Hey, Pine Boy. Yeah, new episode's coming out tomorrow night. It's a yoga block that I'm going to duct tape to the chair. And then this. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of... There's obviously going to be a mic here. Talking to nothing. I can hear the difference a bit, but it's funny. Thanks, Drunk. Thanks. Thanks for that compliment. I think it depends on like where you listen to it, what type of headphones you listen to. I can hear it. I can hear a difference. It sounds more neutral. Is what would be the way I describe it. It's not into. See, the thing is like out in the. I got neighbors. I got good neighbors. I'm not knocking them at all. Everyone's out living their life, right? It's springtime. The pandemic is on the way out. People are outside. They're partying. And those last 15, 20 episodes of last season were hard to record. Hey, Nicole. Nice to see you, too. They were hard to record because there was just so much background noise. So, let me try to move this a bit. So you got to do what you got to do, right? I can't be the noise police. I wouldn't want to be the noise police. Like I can hear people outside walking by right now. And it was getting frustrating, though, because I'm trying to record stuff. I'm doing great, Nicole. Radio Lunch is asking about a dead Discord. Well, there's good news and there's bad news on that front. Right now, we have a Discord, and it's set up for the Patreon supporters. We're doing a Discord for Patreon supporters. So whether that will ever become I don't know about doing a public Discord radio because I don't like Discord. I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, no, radio. We just said, okay, Cole, yeah. I think the Discord's going to get more, like, I go to the Discord, and there's interaction on it, obviously. I think it'll be more when the show starts. I want to start doing game nights. I think it would be fun, and when we can announce stuff like that, would be fun. Discord, it's extra time, and I'm just not a fan of it. So I don't think we'll do a public Discord. I think we're going to do the Patreon Discord because it's just don't have to mod it as much. It's easier to monitor, I guess would be the best way to put it, because when you do it publicly, it's anyone. You could have never listened to the show. You could not like Ghost or anything like that. And you're on the Discord. And it's just an issue. It's not like you have to like be on it, but we'll see. Maybe in the future we'll do make it a thanks, Nicole. Maybe we'll do, and that's the thing. So I have to look at time investments. That's an interesting segue. So I have to look at how I invest my time, because I want to grow the show. And so I go, does having a Discord help grow the show? It helps the existing fans, definitely. Does it help grow the show? What I can do with my time to help grow the show is we're going to be doing more video this season. We're going to be doing a lot more video. The podcast is king. The podcast will always be the number one thing. but you're going to see more video stuff. Whether that, I used to do Patreon only live streams, we're not doing that anymore. All live streams will be open to the public. So that's a change there. That was one thing I was thinking. We'll have the Discord be Patreon only. All live streams, whether it's a movie club live stream, whether it's a live stream like this, all the live streams are going to be for everyone. So I think that's a good compromise between the two. I think that's fair, because this is a time where we can all, and honestly, I'm interacting more with the live stream audience than I have time on the Discord. I don't have a lot of time on the Discord. The Discord's mostly people talking to each other. Now, I'd like to start doing more stuff with the Discord as well, but we're going to be doing more video this season. We're going to expand to TikTok. No dancing. No dancing, no music ones. Yeah, you know, it does have the community aspect, Nicole, but again, like that's for the people who are here. If I have the Discord open to the public, and this is what happened last time we had the Discord open to the public, there were people coming to the Discord who had never heard of the show. It was just, they were just hanging out there and having conversations that were distracting to other people, you know, and it was around for about a week, and I was like, there's not going to be dancing. Out of all the episodes I've recorded, which is your favorite? It would have been episode 149, 150, the vampire sex cult of Yerba Buena. My early episodes, it was in the first couple months. I think it's my favorite episode. It was the episode right before Monkeys Do Not Exist. Yeah. Yeah, I love that one. And Cliff, I'm glad you liked that video. And no, Matthias, there will be no dancing at all. No dancing. Yeah, sometimes I really like that one. It's everything. It's paranormal, it's conspiracy, it's true crime. It's completely obscure. I have not seen anyone cover it before or since. And I love it. I think it's a great story for all of those reasons. It's a lot of fun. And Fetus Jason shows up at the ending, which makes no sense. Which is why I don't do in-jokes. It makes no sense. We do have different channels, Nicole, yeah, for the Discord. But yeah, it's just, we may, maybe in a year, we'll do a public Discord. But for right now, we're going to keep it Patreon Discord. And I think we'll do the live streams. We can talk here, and we'll have YouTube back. That's going to be back coming in season 14. So that's a good place for our community as well. The Molasses Flood is a very interesting story. That's a story that I heard in high school, and I thought it was so funny. So that was one that I'm glad I was able to share with you guys. So I think as far as the storytelling things, because I've had that in my head for like 30 years. Cliffbanger's Monkeys Don't Exist. That's a classic one. I mean, that's what's on our badges. Here, one sec. You know, I still got more of these to send out. I got a lot more to send out, but that's our... It says Monkeys Do Not Exist in Basque down there. I know you can't see that well, but... Yeah, Monkeys Don't Exist is a classic. Caesar Pizza. You know what? When Paranormies first started, when they first started and popped up on the X-Board, I listened to one episode... And like I was saying earlier about my podcast, it's not for everyone. I listened to their podcast and I thought, it's not for me. So I couldn't, from the one episode I heard 3 years ago, I don't know much about them. I know they're very popular on the X-Board. And I thought, oh, you know, here's some average Joes starting a podcast. It just wasn't for me. I'm not a fan of group podcasts. I have a hard time picking out the voices. There's only one podcast I listen to with more than 2 hosts, and it is Sofa King Podcast. That's it. Last podcast on the left, same thing. I've checked out a couple episodes of theirs over the course. I'm not knocking them. I just listen to it and I'm like, I have a hard time differentiating these voices. Paranormies covers paranormal stuff. It's the episode I heard, and again, that was a long time ago. Drunk Bob, did Sofa King go away? It's been a long time since I listened to Sofa King podcast. The last time I was listening to it, one of the hosts, his brother had passed away. And that had been 2 years ago. I haven't really listened to many podcasts since I started my own. Yeah, cliffbangers. I send those out to the Pound supporters because it says Carpenter Copter Pilot on them, and that's why they always find the Carpenter that's why they always fly the Carpenter Copter, so they can get a Carpenter Copter badge. Nicole, the Carpenter Copter noise. Okay, yeah, they might get stoned. It wouldn't shock me. I know the one guy, it's been so long, but it's funny because I loved, I haven't listened to him in a while, but I listened to every episode of Sofa King podcast when they were coming out. And Sofa King podcast was a big influence on my podcast for a couple of reasons. One, this isn't a hit against, again, this is the thing. Every podcast is different and every podcast audience is different. But they taught me not to do in-jokes. They taught me not to tell jokes that you had to have listened to past episodes to get, because they were on like episode 50. They were always making these jokes about Gary Coleman. Now, I had been listening to him, and I found him on the X-Board. I'd been listening to him for a while, and whenever they told a Gary Coleman joke, I'd laugh so hard. But if you didn't listen to every episode from episode 5 to episode 50, you'd have no idea. They'd be talking about the Donner Party, and then they're like, then Gary Coleman showed up. And I remember it struck me one day. This was before I even started a podcast. I thought, if this was my first episode of this podcast, I'd have no idea what they were talking about for the past 10 minutes. So when I started my podcast, that was one of the unwritten rules. I've broken a few times. One of the unwritten rules was no in-jokes. Very, very limited in-jokes. You'll notice sometimes I'll make a joke at the end of the week about an episode I made earlier in the week. And every so often they'll have reoccurring characters. Hey, Mario vs. SpongeBob. Mungo being one of them. Cliffbangers. Mungo was a recurring character. Army Hammer. Like, think about it. If I am recording an episode 2 days from now and I make an Army Hammer joke and you haven't listened to those episodes and he's not in the news, you're going to be like, what? Why did he just talk about Army Hammer going to Arby's? It doesn't make any sense. You guys would get it because I hate Arby's. It's honestly, no, I'm not. It is pretty disgusting. They wouldn't get it. If I made a joke about Mungo walking in right now and being like, me Mungo. But, so it's this tightrope you have to walk. You want to make episodes that please existing listeners and don't alienate new listeners. And not I'm going to cover subject matter that alienates people. But I'm talking about like jokes. Like the first episode you may listen to may be a story about a guy pulling poop out of his pants at like a CVS. And you may go, I'm never going to listen to that podcast again. I don't pick my stories to please new listeners. That's one thing I don't do. Yes, Mungo. That's interesting that you remembered that sometimes. There was, cliffhangers. I love in-jokes as well, but it's just super hard. That's why Hans doesn't show up. That's a good point, and I'll answer that Mungo thing as well. When I did if something like that, I think he was at a Burger King. And he was throwing poop. Sometimes, so there was an episode, I think it was an alternate reality where I was super famous and I had a son named Mungo Jr. with Britney Spears. I think it was like the 2012 reset. So in that, hey here, bud, what's up, dude? I was just thinking about you the other day because I feng shuied my apartment and I moved Rabbitron 3000. So yeah, that was it. Mungo Jr. was my kid. And sometimes you have to listen to Mysterious Universe all the time. Mysterious Universe taught me a lesson as well. this may be controversial. I'm not knocking Mysterious Universe either. My viewpoint is give the product for free and monetize other things. I've talked about this on the show before. Podcasts that lock some of their content behind paywalls, bonus episodes that you have to pay to listen to. Like I've done Patreon live streams and we've talked about stuff, but I've never done a show and I've said, if you want to hear the rest of this podcast, you got to subscribe to Jason Plus. Yeah, I'm in my plot. This is my recording studio now. So, I mean, but see, here's the thing. I don't want to do that. As a listener, I'd be really into a story on Mysterious Universe, and then they would flip it into the bonus episode. That's their business model, and it's working out extremely successfully for them. They've been doing it for 14 years. I'm not knocking Mysterious Universe, but as a listener, it was driving me up the wall. So when I started doing a podcast, that was one of the things I said. I'd love to have sponsors. I'd love to make more money doing the show so I could my dream with the show, honestly, is to travel to these locations we're talking about, to record the podcast on the road, in hotels, not live shows where the audio quality sucks. Thank you, Anonymous. Thank you, Sephora. Long time no see. Hey, Nicholas. That is true. My OnlyFans. Oh, dude, why'd you tell them? Why'd you tell them about that? Where I dress up as Minecraft Steve. I want to travel and do this show. I want to go to these haunted locations. I want to go to Dudleytown and do a whole week of just regular, not every episode would be about Dudleytown, but we could do this stuff. We do more video. So I'd like to make more money so I could do more things and make the show more vibrant. I mean, you guys have been awesome, and the donations I've gotten tonight have been awesome. I am duct taping a yoga mat to a chair so I can get my mic set up for tomorrow. And this is just the reality of things. And it's funny because this is going to be a funny memory someday when we are forward in the show and we do have this ability to travel around and meet people and do interviews and things like that and keep the podcast the same but have this extra stuff. So I want sponsors. I don't want to put it on you guys and say, if you guys want to hear the rest of this scary story, pay me some money. That's not something I'm into. And I'm not saying that's what Mysterious Universe does all the time. Not 100%. Thank you, Radio. Thank you. My studio is falling apart. So, and I wasn't trying to, Anonymous and Radio, I wasn't trying to guilt you guys into that at all. I do love that mic drop guy. I wasn't trying to say that at all. That was just, I appreciate that. And this will be a memory someday. We'll be like, dude, remember when Jason live streamed before season 14 when he was trying to duct tape a yoga? But yeah, I've always thought that, hey, Foxtrotter, I've always thought I want the companies to pay for the show, not the fans. But I appreciate all the Patreon support. I appreciate all the donations tonight as well. But yeah, there's just something I got from Mysterious Universe. Again, not knocking them. They're the papas. They're the big daddies of the podcast world, and it works for them. It works for them. Yeah, support. I'm just trying to fix this. And you know what? Yeah, when is that Jake Paul fight? Is it tonight? I mean, I don't have $50 to spoil. I do now from these donations, but you know, I would watch it at like a buddy's house or something like that. I'm morbidly curious. I think if I get one more round of duct tape on this thing, I think we're set. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to season 14. I got some really good stuff. Cliff, thank you. I'm glad it's a pear man. You guys keep having the pear man appear. Is it on tonight? You know what? It's so funny. Like who's he fighting? I guess he's fighting. Yes, XM. Still at it. Starting new episodes. If you got 43 left, parasize. If you got 43 left, we're going to start bringing out new ones tomorrow. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I have some really cool stuff. One of them, that's the thing, Anonymous. Yeah, I thought it was like an MMA guy. Like, it seemed, because I know he's fought like YouTubers, and I think this guy's an actual like fighter. Okay, a wrestler. I mean, you know what, I'll tell you right now, it's Jake Paul, right? He would destroy me. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, that dude, he would wreck me in a fight. He would wreck me. Like, I'm not so egotistical to think that I could take some 20-year-old dude. Yeah, why do you think he's going to be fighting lawsuits pretty soon here, bud? The Carpenter Copter is a great vehicle. That got edited. I edited a piece out the other day, which is my favorite vehicle. I did a little rant on that. I cut it for time. Okay. Is this ready to see how this is wobbly? This is what I need to fix. And it needs to be open. What? Did this... Okay, I think we got it. Oh, that sucks, dude. I did not hear about that. I did not hear about... Got accused of that. I don't really keep up with... You know what? It's so funny. I think it was Logan Paul did that thing about Flat Earth, that Flat Earth documentary. That was legitimately funny. So I've never... And then one of them has a podcast called Impulsive. But, you know, if Jake's getting accused of sexual assault, that's just not... That's rough. But see, I watched that documentary. I talked about it on the podcast, and I don't really keep up with that crew. Whatever they call themselves, Gang 8 or something like that. I actually think that's a political thing. Low Gang. No, yeah, so I guess I'm more, I don't want to say interested, but yeah, I would say I pay more attention to Logan Paul than I do Jake. That's too bad, man. This studio's looking good. Honestly. My favorite podcast... It was good, Anonymous. It was very, very funny. I thought it was going to be pretty, like, low-hanging fruit. It actually had, like, funny skits in it. Like, it wasn't just him trolling a bunch of people. That was part of it, but he actually had some funny skits. I know, XM. I know. This truly is. This is like that studio from Hustle and Flow, where he gets, like, egg crates and puts them everywhere. I don't know what my favorite podcast is. I don't listen to many anymore. Dude, check this out. This is like traditional Basque garb or not. It's one of the two. It's not mine, obviously. This is my great-grandma's. I've kept it for years. And I got this from a dead man. This dude died. And he was just laying on the street, and I took it. No, someone at work was like, hey, my friend died, and he has all these clothes. Do you want them? And I say, I'll take the patches thing. I'm going to get something to drink real quick. I'll be right back. Let's see what I missed. Yeah, it is hard out here for a film. But so going back, what's my favorite podcast? The podcast that I've listened to the the Parapod. I love that. That was one of the main inspirations behind the show. And I love We're Alive. If you're into fictional podcasts, it's one of my favorite zombie stories of all time. I rank it up there with Train to Busan, with Dawn of the Dead, with The Night Eats the World. We're Alive. It's like a 40-hour long audio drama about zombies. I love it. I've listened to it all the way through 3 times. And then what other podcast owned the monkeys? I'm trying to remember. Was that the Chilling Tales for a Dark Night? Was that what you're referencing there? The Foxtrotter, what's my favorite conspiracy theory? That's hard to say. It's not the one I would believe the most. It's the one that I have the most amusement I guess it would have to be monkeys don't exist. Like I mean, that's the perfect conspiracy theory. And the reason why it's so perfect is that because it doesn't make sense, but if you think about it too long, it does start to make sense. You do start to go, that's I've never seen a monkey in real life. Like it's obviously ludicrous, but have you ever seen an ape in real life outside of a zoo? And then he has an answer for that too. I'm not saying I believe monkeys don't exist, but it's perfect because you can actually start to convince somebody that there might be something behind it. Thank you, Sephora. Really appreciate the donation and the purple guy freaking out. Let's see here. Oh, tinfoil hat one. Yeah, with Sam Tripoli or something like that. What are you going to do? Like, you know what I mean? Like everyone, again, not knocking them. Everyone's doing their own thing. Yeah, no, that's cool. No, and yeah, thanks for spearheading that and trying to get that working out for me too. Yeah, Sam Tripoli. Yeah, penguins don't exist. Sloths don't exist. All that. It's fascinating. It's such a good conspiracy theory. I wish him the best. He's talked about other conspiracy theories that are a little more controversial, but I wish him the best. As much fun as we have on the show, I wish him literally. Is the fight over, Free? Did the fight actually end? Birds don't exist is actually fake. That's the thing. That's a joke. And it's so funny because birds don't exist is super popular. And it's ironic, but it's a joke. We know it's a joke. The people who organized it made it to be a joke. Monkeys don't. So he won that fight already. Oh, that dude's career is over. Getting beat. If you're an actual fighter and you got beat by, and I'm not dissing Jake Paul, he would wreck me, dude. He would wreck. His arms are as long as my body. I'd have no reach on him. But yeah, birds don't reel. That's the thing, Sean. I remember my dad. He was a huge boxing fan. He'd watch boxing all the time as a kid. With my duct tape radio, using my born abilities to fix the studio. He watched boxing all the time. Didn't matter if it was in English, Spanish. I don't know Spanish. We'd be sitting there, my dad's watching Spanish boxing. I was like, what are they saying? He goes, it doesn't matter if you can understand them, Jason. They're boxing. You don't need to know what they're saying. You just watch the fight. But he always said, he goes, it's the easiest sport to rig. That's a good question. Was it an MMA? I thought it was like a boxing match. Don't reel. I want to learn Spanish. I actually have a couple of books on how to speak it, but they don't do any help if you don't actually read them. How do I feel about missing 411? I think missing 411 is the theory itself. I think it's less fascinating than the story behind it. Is that the story behind it was he published these 3 books and they didn't really take off, and they were going for like $100 a pop, and they were out of print and you couldn't find them. And when I started looking into 411, and I think the same would go for a lot of you guys, you couldn't find the books. You couldn't find the books at all. And then, like years later, or I won't say it's like 10 later, but a time period later, Missing 411 became popular. The books were republished. And here's the thing, when we couldn't read the books, when we only saw the green text, when we only heard about what was in the books were so expensive and they were out of print. The story was fascinating. But once we actually were able to read the books, once we were actually able to read the accounts in the books, you started to notice a couple of trends. There's a lot of cherry picking in it. There's a lot of finding connections between missing people that are small, like they went to a bramble, they went to a bush, and then they disappeared. And he's making these huge connections over the course of decades. And it's kind of fell apart. The myths, the mystical element of the book, you couldn't find this book. It was lost media for a while. And then you start looking into it and they're like, oh, it's just missing people reports. And the thing is like whenever people talk about missing 411, they say people have gone missing for decades in national forests, which is true. And then they'll always tell you the same 3 to 5 stories. Oh, and they found the boot. They found the shoe in the crevice on the cliffside. But if people have been missing for decades, hundreds, thousands of people missing for decades, how come they always talk about the same 5 stories? The same 5 weird examples? Technically, yeah, the clothes folded up. Very, very classic. There are weird things in those books, but there's not thousands of weird things. Most of the stories are just people disappearing. And yes, Doomer, thank you. It's easy to get lost in any wooded area, unless you're from a wooded area, and then it's a little bit harder. But I would get lost in the forest right away. You know? So yeah, that's the thing. Like you'll have people get lost. Do I think that every single person who went missing in a national park was Doomer? Was someone who just got lost? No, some of them probably were paranormal. Do I think all of them were paranormal? No. Do I think any of them had to do with U.S. soldiers wearing camouflage gear, hunting humans? No. Okay, maybe 2. Maybe 2 or 3. But, and also an interesting thing is David Pauletti's is a huge Bigfoot person. And that gets a lot left out of the missing 411 story. The original theory was it's all Bigfoot related, or most of it was Bigfoot related. But then people, when the books weren't able to be accessed, there was a lot of stories about U.S. soldiers, camouflaged, portals and things like that. And so the myth grew up. So now it's that missing 411 is some unknown thing. But the original idea, I don't know if he specifically said it, but the original idea was that it was Bigfoot. No, Andrew. I've shown my face a lot. I've done a lot of live streams. I just did one from the last blockbuster on Earth, Thursday. Hey, Libby, Andrew. That's not saying Libby and Andrew. Hey, Libby. And then I was looking at Andrew's comment here. No, yeah. We went a week without doing YouTube because we were having issues with YouTube, but that's been resolved. So we're going to start posting stuff, and we'll see where we go with that. I really like doing the live streams. I really like having this here. It's so hot, though. I don't know how much longer this one's going to last. I think I got my studio set up pretty good. And I do have to do some more research. The first episode isn't quite ready. I want to get some more. I like doing them too, Nicole. I want to get some more. Hey guys, tell me what you think about this. You know what? I've done episodes like this, Nicole. I did two Thanksgiving episodes live. It's really hard to do a live episode. Because, again, the main thing I like is the podcast, and I like the podcast to be polished, and these episodes aren't polished. The audio's not great. It's on my camera and stuff like that, so I tend not to do live episodes. And they're also a lot more stressful. Tell me what you guys think about this idea. What do you guys think about... Thank you. Yeah, you know, it's so funny, the red light incident one, Andrew. You know, I don't know if I ever talked about this on the podcast. I got emails from 2 different people telling me how they faked that. Because there was 2 posts. There was 2 different posts. The one guy's like, oh no, I totally made, like, we're talking months afterwards. I think one of them posted on YouTube. I think you can go to the red light incident episode on YouTube. And one of them was like, oh no, that was me. I totally faked that. Totally made that up. And then so I got an email from someone else and they're like, hey, I saw your red light episode a while back. I faked it because, you know, there were multiple accounts. The red light incident was really cool. It was early on in the show. It's basically people say they were sitting at home and they saw a glowing red light in the other room, and they posted photos. And they just was like, I think one guy had a red lightsaber, like a Star Wars lightsaber, threw it in the bathtub, shut the door, and you could see the light coming from underneath the door. Totally fine. I mean, it fooled people. In the episode, I was like, yeah, you know, it could be fake. Sounds interesting, but yeah, I got contact. That's happened before, where I've covered stuff and I've said, I think this is fake. But who knows? Because that's I could every episode I could just go, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake, and be on the safe side and be smart. But that's boring. You guys get bored, and I get bored. There have been times where I've said, oh, this is probably fake, but let's put on our conspiracy caps. I've had people email me and go, dude, yeah, I totally made that. I totally made that up. It was super fake. So, but again, it hasn't happened a lot. No, WQ. You know what? That's not a bad idea. I've actually, Earbud, and no, I haven't played Deus Ex. Earbud, the way I have it set up right now is I ended up getting a new laptop that's a lot more powerful than my old laptop was. But Earbud, dude, you're always welcome, dude. Hit me up. It's been months. So Earbud's a personal friend of mine. Whether or not you're doing this, dude, hit me up. We'll go across the street. And we'll I don't drink, but yeah, dude, hit me up, bro. You know my schedule. And yeah, I'm gonna get a new. It's been a while, dude. It's been a while. Dude, I've been using my cellular data this whole time. Yeah, dude, just hit me up, and yeah, we can take a look at that. The Rabbitron I'm not using right now, but I'm using my new laptop that I bring in and out. That's not a bad idea, though. But yeah, come over. We'll take a look at it. And then I can't say that an ARG. Anyone tried to advertise their ARGs to you? Not really. Not really. Not really. I don't think I've had anyone. I've found them. I found them on accident, or someone has recommended me to cover something. I remember there was one story. I'm not going to put the dude on blast because I love you guys. He recommended me a story. I looked into it. I spent like an hour or two digging into it, which is a lot of time. Normally, I'll just read articles and kind of gather this information, type notes up. This one was like this huge sprawling thing. Found it was an ARG, and I was like, oh, man. You kidding me, dude? I was like, I spent, when you're doing a daily show, 2 hours on one story is a long time. Now, there are stories like Monkeys Don't Exist took a long time. Sentient Soy still might be one of my most researched stories because I had to find a bunch of facts on soy. But recently, I'm doing an episode about Russell Brand coming up. It probably took about an hour to get all, because I don't know really who Russell Brand is. I had to look a bunch into Russell Brand. I had to look into these people who are making these accusations against Russell Brand. I had to start digging through their stuff. Sometimes it's just, if I'm telling a cryptid story, I'll read 3 or 4 different articles on cryptids. I don't really ever like to go off just one article. I read a couple, even like true crime, I try to read different articles and get other sides of the story. But yeah, as far as ARGs go, I don't really like covering them. I think they're super easy. They're super easy to cover, and they're boring to me. It's okay if I get fooled because I'm not God. I've been fooled before. Lone Pine Devils, Civil War of the Worlds. You're going to get fooled, right? You can't stomp your feet like a big baby and get mad. But if I'm researching it, like, I wasn't mad. I was just like, what a waste of time. Like, I'm not going to cover this ARG. It was just like, ugh. If someone, I did have an early on, I made comments to a Twitter account that was an ARG. That was, a friend of mine was running a Twitter account, and I gave the Twitter account shout outs. So that was it. I would never, and I was totally fine with that, but I would never do a full story on something with me knowing it was fake from the get-go and then pretending it was real to get you guys interested in something. I would probably just say, hey guys, there's this really cool ARG going on, or I think it's more fun that way, honestly. Honestly, to me, I think it's that's awful, Foxtrotter. If you got a demon beating you up as a baby. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely, as I'm in my haunted closet, thank you so much for sending that story over. Yeah, it's so funny because there is one ARG. that I thought was interesting. It may not even be an ARG. It might be one of the most interesting things I've ever read online. I thought I had lost it. One of you guys named Kent Allard sent it to me. I don't know if it's an ARG or not. I haven't read it in years. I searched for it for years. It's really good. It's really, really good stuff. And to go to the comment of, hey, Nicole, have a good night. Thank you. And thank you for all your great compliments tonight. You've been dropping a lot of them. Really, really appreciate that. And then as Doomer, did I remember what I was going to talk about before being interrupted by lots of comments? I don't. If you could kind of let me know what I was saying beforehand, I remember it. And that is possible as well, Foxtrotter. I mean, the human brain is complicated, and there's a lot of stuff that you could actually just block things out. What was it? It was the Viking. I just did a whole thing on missing 411. Like, I just went on for about 10 minutes. Or is that what I was talking about before I was interrupted? I think I kind of finished my thoughts on that, but I could be wrong. The ghost of that. The ARG, I don't know if it was ARG, it was called The Immortals. It was called The Immortals. And I remember reading it. I got a tablet. Oh, yeah, no, Viking. Yeah, I just did a whole thing on missing 411. Yes, clip this. Real Ghost kind of live stream. It's called The Immortals. I remember it was the first time I'd ever bought a tablet. It was like the very first thing I ever read on a tablet, and I was just scrolling. It's super long. It's super long. I read it 8 years ago, and there are certain images I memorized to this day. I remember it was like reading a novel. It was great, and I want to cover it. It's just a lot of stuff. The most unsettling website I've ever been to, hands down. I'm not joking. It's Reddit. 100% Reddit. Yeah, 100%. There's not even a debate on that. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why Reddit's so bad. No, Radio Lynch. Not my Immortal. Not the Harry Potter, Twilight, Vampire. And I've read some of that, and I love it. And I've watched the YouTube videos. 100%, Andrew. 100%. And here's the thing. You can go to 4chan, and you can find a thread about people getting messed up on motorcycle accidents. Let's watch gore videos on people getting in motorcycle accidents and stuff like that. And that thread disappears after like a day or two. And it gets like 29 pictures or whatever, GIFs, and then it just disappears. But you can have a subreddit called Motorcycle Crashes exist for 6 years. And it has a dedicated following of 23 people, and every single day they post new photos of motorcycle crashes. It's flat out, the Reddit is the most unsettling website out there, hands down. Now, you could say there's stuff on the deep web and stuff like that that's illegal, and stuff that is illegal on the surface web, but it's just for the scope and the size and the fact that it sits on these subreddits. And people communicate. Think about it. I go to like the meth subreddit. I started doing that again. The meth subreddit, the heroin subreddit, and stuff like that. And these people are talking about like heroin like it's this casual thing. And you'll find that where else on the surface web. And you definitely won't find that as I'm going through the heroin subreddit. There's advertisements for stuff, for mainstream brands, Allstate Insurance. It's disturbing. The fact that I've seen stuff on Reddit. Now, again, like, of course, you could say, well, what about gore.com or ogreish or rotten.com? But remember, that stuff will be mirrored on Reddit. Outside of straight up hardcore illegal stuff. Like, they don't let you sell heroin on that subreddit, on the heroin subreddit. But you can't tell me that they don't. Yeah, I lost a friend to heroin, dude. It sucks. Yeah, so I mean, Reddit is Reddit is mainstream. If you try telling people about this, like you guys are like, oh no, I agree. You guys are pointing out other examples. Other people will be like, no, I go there and look at kittens. You'll find no other website like that. Like even the export is up against like fit and television and anime, and then you go to like the non work safe 4chan, and you have politically incorrect and the gifs and all that stuff. And even that seems to be more well regulated because people will actually not engage. Or even if they do engage, it hits a bump limit and it's gone. Well, I mean, I don't think that. Well, what's funny is that people are going to do heroin whether or not the subreddit exists. But if you go to that subreddit, you spend some time on that subreddit, they talk about harm reduction. But it's such a harmful drug. And I get it. I guess if you want to inject it, you don't want to inject it poorly. So they do have some harm reduction stuff on heroin, the subreddit of heroin. But then you're just seeing people whose lives are. It's super weird because it's a cross section between people who, it's all sorts of stuff. You have people who are just starting it out and going, please don't try it. If I was your age, and I had that choice, I wouldn't do it. And then you go in other posts and they're like, dude, look what I just scored. And they're showing pictures of their heroin. And the people who are saying, don't ever do it, some of them have quit. Some of them are on subs, I guess, which is like an anti-opioid thing, or it's like a mild opioid to kind of prevent it. It's just living that culture, and it's heartbreaking, right? Again, I'm not super libertarian when it comes to drugs. At the end of the day, it is their choice whether or not they want to do it, but there's also their family and their friends and their kids suffering from it. Look at DMX, man. DMX died. All of his fans, everyone who loved his music, everyone who loved him, he got high one night. And he died. Would he have done that if there was no subreddit for heroin? No, I don't think that. I'm not saying that. But there are. Yeah, dude. I mean, that's the thing. Like, yeah, Dark Man. That's the thing. Like, you do go, hey, man, if he wants to do it, like, that's what I was talking earlier about, like, people being overweight, people eating a bunch of stuff. That's not a choice. I made that choice for a while. It was super unhealthy. If someone else wants to do that, I'm not going to throw them in jail for it. But being overweight can have the same long-term health effects as, this might be a controversial statement, but being obese, being 350 pounds, can have the same long-term health consequences as doing heroin, i.e. it can kill you. But I'm not stealing from my mom to buy cheeseburgers. I'm not committing other crimes to do this stuff. And I know that's why some people say that drugs should be legalized so people aren't committing crimes. But I just think that, going back to the whole Reddit thing, I think Reddit allows subcultures to flourish, while on other websites that are considered more controversial, like 4chan, they are either voted out or they hit a sublimit and they go away. I think overall, there are certain things on 4chan, and it's been years since I've gone to B or anything like that. It's been like, I couldn't even tell you the last time I went there. I think I probably only went there once or twice because you heard how like crazy it was. But and it wasn't. That's not really that didn't appeal to me. And that's the same thing. The question about have I ever browsed the deep web? No, like I can't. I mean, I remember first hearing about it, and I heard about it as like a government surveillance, like a way that they could break through spy stuff. I might have gotten Tor at some point. I'm not for sure. Because it's like, there's just like isn't it just like a search page or something like that? Yeah, that's the thing. The tour is government owned. I'm trying to think if I'm getting that confused with. I don't think I ever have. I think I heard so much about it, and then I heard so much that it was broken, and then I heard the only stuff you could ever find on there was crazy stuff. Yeah. Um, I'm trying to I'm trying to think, because now I'm thinking, like, because I used to use Kazaa, and I know that's something different, but that's like peer-to-peer stuff. And Pirate Bay. Did I ever actually go onto the? I think I've just seen screenshots of it, and you would see the same ones, like the cannibal place, the one where they were like putting people in sleeping bags and stuff like that. But I don't think I've ever actually gone there myself, because everyone says that it's slow. There's nothing there, because then, or if it is there, it's stuff like Silk Road, the Silk Road. See, and yeah, that's kind of the same thing. Yeah, that it's I see. That's why I'm confused about, because there's the deep web and then there's the dark web, right? So yeah, I know I've never been, because I guess the dark web is like the illegal stuff. I've never gone. Yeah, I don't know. But see, again, I'm not. I was more into the conspiracy theory stuff. I've never been into the shock stuff. I've never been into that thing. And we were talking earlier about shock movies, or what's the most grim websites I've ever been to. And I've just never been into that stuff. Like when I was a kid, when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, you watch like Faces of Death, and you watch like Banned from Television. And you're like, oh, this is totally cool. But then you're like, no, that's not. It's super disgusting. It's super disgusting. No, I've never seen Deep Web Browsing Jason. It's a series on YouTube. I've never been interested in the shock value. I've never been interested. Here's the thing, and I know like originally they were saying, oh, on Deep Web, there's like bum fights. I still have a copy of that. So yeah, and so that's the thing, like, and Own the Monkeys is saying, like, I heard that there's like alien documents on the deep web, that there were these like conspiracy documents on the deep web, but no one was ever showing any proof of that stuff. I would keep seeing the screenshot of see, that's the thing. But is there, or is it just old stuff or fake stuff? I've never been intrigued enough to, one, try to download Tor and hurt my computer if I got it from the wrong person. Yeah. If I did check it out, it would have been a long time ago, and I would have found nothing. That I was looking for conspiracy theory stuff. But I do remember using Kazaa, because you would get, I think I know it sounds like such a boomer, but you could download PDFs from Kazaa. And so you would get conspiracy theory books. You would get like those How to Be a Hitman books and banned books that I would download from Kazaa magazines and stuff like that. The pyramid one, I'm not for sure. The Navy's saying they think it's real. They're supposed to come out with that report in June. And then we'll know. What they know. But whether or not that report is complete, whether or not that report says anything, we don't know. But yeah, it's one of those things, like I don't plan on covering it on the show. It's pretty mainstream. My theory, that what we're going to find out, that a lot of this stuff is drones from other countries. And people will say it's not real. People will say that those comments aren't real. People will say that it's so hot in that closet. People will say all sorts of stuff. But like if the government came out tomorrow and said, okay, we've analyzed all this UFO stuff, it's drones from China and Russia. And here's proof, here's footage. of a Russian base of this triangle flying off. We don't know how they got this technology. We think what would you think if they were able to prove that this stuff was drone technology from Earth? Most conspiracy theorists would just say they're covering it up, they're fake, even if they could show proof of that. So it doesn't matter what they say, right? We expect the answer to be aliens. If they say anything else than that, we're not going to be happy. But we know they're not going to say aliens. Yeah, dude, that documentary Mirage Man. I don't know if I mentioned that on the show. I actually watched that at the end of last season. Well, Foxtrotter, we actually did an episode about Operation High Jump. And it's an interesting episode. A lot of the high jump stuff can be disputed. You had I think 30,000, 10 to 30,000 U.S. soldiers there who supposedly engaged in this fight with aliens, and one man was killed to cover up the truth. And you haven't had any of these other 10 to 30,000 U.S. soldiers come forward or on their deathbed or anything like that try to say that this happened. It's most likely not true. And when you have, who was it, Admiral Byrd made the comment about vehicles that were incredibly fast that can travel from pole to pole. In the episode, we actually read the entire quote that's misquoted. He's talking about a future where we need to set up defenses in the Arctic because eventually we can have jets that can fly over the poles at incredibly fast speeds. He's clearly talking about earthly technology. He's clearly talking about his concerns about Soviet technology, rockets, and things like that. And yeah, Radio Lunch, it is a really good documentary. The Mirage Men is a really good documentary. I think the scariest part of that documentary is this guy is a UFO investigator, and this is true apparently. The CIA or Homeland Security wasn't around back then. It was either CIA or NSA snuck into his house and replaced his computer. They gave him a new computer, not in a box, not like he was from Gateway Computers. It was his computer replaced so they can monitor all of his communications and everything he was writing while he was gone. They were able to take a look at what computer he had, replace it so it would be perfectly. Now, I don't know, wouldn't it be easy to just tap the hard drive? They gave him a new, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. They give me one that has Kazaa on it. I'm like, no, not Kazaa. I'm still downloading PDFs. How to Hire a Hitman. Yeah, they faked a UFO crash site. He was if you don't know the documentary Mirage Man, you should check it out. I might do a Dead Rabbit Recommends on it. He was filming weird objects in the sky. He replaced all the software with McAfee, yes, and then everything's super slow. He was filming weird objects in the sky and reporting them, and the Air Force realized that's top secret U.S. hardware. But we couldn't tell him that, so we told him it was UFOs. And then they actually have this guy who infiltrated the UFO community and made up all these stories. And then, if I remember correctly, he got exposed. But then he goes, "Oh yeah, no, you're right. I was faking that stuff, but now I'm legit." And he continues to go to the show him sitting in UFO conventions. He's like, "No, I'm just here enjoying it." Yeah, was it Richard Doty? He's like, I just love UFOs, even though he was outed as a huge fraud. Thank you, Harbinger. Really, really appreciate the donation. Really appreciate it. He was outed as a huge fraud. Yeah, and then at the end, well, that's a thing. So I believe so, but at the end, I think at the end they insinuate that he's like, why would he why would he stop working for the government? Obviously. Cecil, I need to put it. I did end up creating a list of all of Dead Rabbit Recommends. It's fun. I need to put it on my website. It's funny because